All right. Aloha kakahiaka, or actually it's in the afternoon. Aloha yahi, everybody, and welcome to Safety, Security, and Best Practices in Crypto. This is the latest webinar by the Digital Currency Innovation Lab, and I'm very excited to be here, very excited to introduce our speaker. My name is Ryan Ozawa. I am a community engagement consultant with the Digital Currency Innovation Lab, or DCIL. Before we begin, a bit of background. The DCIL is a partnership between the State Division of Financial Institutions, the DFI, and the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation, or the HTDC. And its mission is to help the state explore economic opportunities brought about by virtual currencies, as well as gather data through companies admitted into the program to help guide policy. For more information, please visit the HTDC website at htdc.org, and you can look for the DCIL under programs. So this webinar is part of the DCIL Presents series. It's offered to educate and raise awareness around virtual currencies. And today we're going to hear from Spencer Toyama. He is a co-founder of Sudokrew. It's a Hawaii-based software development shop, one of the preeminent ones, been around for a long time. Spencer is also a member of the recently formed DCIL Advisory Group. The members of that group are helping to guide this webinar series, and you can find more information on the members and the group also at the HTDC DCIL website. So today, Spencer will cover how to perform basic due diligence, identify potential scams, adopt personal security practices while you're in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and learn how common rug pulls are performed. And a lot of this, I think you will find, comes down to the technology that you choose to manage your holdings. Before we dive into the session today, I'd like to remind everyone that the session is recorded and it'll be sent to those who have registered for this webinar. If well, certainly not you, but if people weren't able to make it, you're also encouraged to please send in questions during the session through the Q&A function built into Zoom. And if we have time, we will try to address them at the end of his presentation. So without further ado, I want to welcome Spencer to this webinar. Please, Spencer, take it away.
Cool. Let's see, I got to share my screen. I did want to clarify, I'm not going too much into due diligence because that's kind of like more about the investment side, and this is more about security. Sorry, I should have corrected that on the copy, Ryan.
No worries.
But everyone can see my screen. We're good.
Yep, looks great.
Okay.
Squid Game.
Yeah, this is really just my excuse to create a bunch of Squid Game memes. But this will be about safety and security in crypto. I run a dev shop, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with crypto, but I am someone that has gotten scammed before. And I had funds stolen from me. So I think I think this is more for me to share with the community about my experience and ways that I found to protect myself, and I have consulted with like other security professionals on this to get some feedback. But generally in this talk, I'll be covering vulnerabilities when working with cryptocurrencies, wallet types and their vulnerabilities, and a little bit of rug pulls and scams. But it will be, yeah, it's probably the tip of the iceberg for scams because there's a whole lot. But I will not be covering risk and volatility or investment, or if you came here to figure out what the next crypto to invest in, or like how to prevent you know, like your holdings from going down, that's probably not what I'm going to cover. And so how can vulnerability be viewed in the blockchain space? Vulnerability has many faces. There's blockchain type and security. And I'll be going over custodial and self-custody wallets, which have their own benefits and risks associated with them. DeFi and degen activities have their own vulnerabilities associated with them. And then I'll do a little bit of an intro to common scams. So market cap gets talked a lot about in the crypto space, and I feel like it gets a little bit too much attention. because it's more about the investment and less about the technology. But market cap is important because the way that cryptocurrency technology works is that you that these blockchains they gain more encryption as more transactions happen across the network. So market cap can be a measure of how how big that network is. So I just took a screenshot this morning of the market caps of the top coins right now, and you can kind of see that Bitcoin is in a class of its own. It's close to $1 trillion in market cap. And Bitcoin actually has a completely different technology from the next 5 coins coming after it. Whereas Bitcoin is proof of work and everything else is proof of stake. I'm not going to go into the vulnerabilities of the different proof of work or proof of stake technologies, but generally proof of work is considered more secure than proof of stake. And you can see that Bitcoin has a lot more transactions or a lot bigger market cap on it. So it actually has more cryptography on the Bitcoin network than other networks. So personally, I consider Bitcoin more secure than the other networks, being like Ethereum, Binance, Tether, Solana. And you can kind of see that Bitcoin has $1 trillion. Ethereum is almost half of that. Binance is a fraction of Ethereum, and Tether and Solana are both a fraction of Ethereum. So so if you were measuring all of these up, like Bitcoin is I want to say almost its own thing, and then you kind of have everything else. And then that brings us to like, what is a wallet? Because I think there's like a lot of confusion right now as to what is a wallet. There are 2 basic types of, sorry, I'm skipping a little bit, but a wallet is basically your view into the ledger of these networks. So whenever there's a wallet in cryptocurrency, it is basically downloading the entire ledger of every transaction that happened on the network, and then giving you a finite view on what your transactions you did on that network. So if I were to like unencrypt the ledger on my wallet, then I would be able to see Spencer gave Ellen some money 51 minutes ago and gave Ryan some 2 hours and 22 minutes ago. But all of the other transactions are encrypted, so I wouldn't be able to see them. But that's like a very stripped down version of what a wallet actually is. And wallets exist on every network. So Bitcoin has its own wallet, Ethereum has its own wallet, Solana has its own wallet. You get the idea. And then there are custodial versus non-custodial wallets. Most of or the exchanges that take place in DCIL, I think they're all custodial exchanges, and they have their own risks associated with them. But custodial wallets means that someone else is holding your keys for you. So if you're into something like Gemini, they are and you're trading like maybe Bitcoin and Ethereum, but you don't have separate keys for Bitcoin and Ethereum, it means that Gemini is actually holding the keys for you, and then you have keys for Gemini. So you don't actually have full control of your cryptocurrency if you're holding your funds in a custodial wallet. These are vulnerable to system-wide hacks like Mt. Gox. There are limited tokens that you can exchange on these custodial exchanges. They are dependent on government compliance, and SIM hacks, which is pretty common right now. SIM hacks are where someone makes a duplicate of your SIM card and then uses that to recover your password through 2-factor authentication, and then they can then log into your crypto accounts and move funds around. Benefits of these custodial wallets is they're much simpler, much easier to use. You don't have to track multiple wallets if you're using multiple currencies. So if you're investing in like 14 different currencies, you do not have to have 14 different wallets the way that you would if you're doing self-custody. And so you don't have to remember all of your keys. They're much simpler, much easier to use. They have different forms of protection on them, and I can't really generalize like what those protections are because they can vary from exchange to exchange. But examples of custody wallets would be Cash App, Coinbase, Gemini, Binance, KuCoin, Gate, Kraken. Not all of these are on part of the DCIL, by the way. But examples of hacks that have happened. This just happened, yeah, yesterday. Someone in Florida lost $24,000. I think they had a Coinbase account. It wasn't disclosed how this hack happened, but my guess is a SIM hack because they had two-factor authentication turned on. So someone probably got a version of their SIM card or a duplicate of their SIM card and was able to get into their accounts. There's also like a crypto exchange where $150 million of a crypto exchange was lost. They don't know how this happened either. It's probably in the account security, the web security of the exchange, not necessarily the blockchain. The blockchain is a different type of technology from web security, from the application side. And Mt. Gox, of course, is kind of the most famous one where they kept everything in one wallet and then those keys got leaked, and then hackers were able to move the entire exchange. Self-custody wallets are a different type of wallet, or a self-custody wallet. If anyone's been in Bitcoin or Ethereum from the early days, then you probably had a self-custody wallet or just been working with self-custody wallets because they were the most common ones. But self-custody wallets just means that you hold the keys for the crypto. You have to have a wallet for every crypto that you have. So you might have one for Ethereum, you might have one for Bitcoin. You get the idea. And then there are wallets like MetaMask where you can have different flavors of Ethereum or layer 2s of Ethereum like Polygon. And some of these self-custody wallets now support multiple blockchains as well. So vulnerabilities or risks with this are physical loss. You can forget the keys to these wallets. They require a little bit of technical knowledge, but you do not need to know how to code in order to have these. And it requires due diligence in securing these wallets. Benefits are you have control over your cryptocurrencies. They're private, they're portable. If let's say if DCIL gets shut down, or if the government decides to not allow for cryptocurrency to be exchanged for whatever reason, they actually would have a very difficult time in seizing your funds. But similarly, like with self-custody wallets, they're portable, so you can always take them with you. Like if Gemini Exchange was shut down for whatever reason, then potentially your funds would go with them, or your crypto would go with them. I shouldn't say funds because they're different things, but your crypto would not go with you if something like Gemini was shut down and you had all of your crypto in that. But if you had a self-custody wallet, you control the keys, you control your wallet, you control your crypto. But they're still vulnerable because 20% of Bitcoin has already been lost. And that is mostly self-custody wallets. That is people that kept their self-custody wallets in a hard drive or in a USB drive or somewhere, and they lost it. And you hear about people that went through garbage dumps because they had $20 million in Bitcoin lost in a hard drive somewhere. And self-custody wallets are also the gateway or the main way that people participate in things like DeFi and degenerate activities. I think there is a gradient on what those are, of what's the difference between, like a Ponzi game like Olympus DAO, which is giving like an 8,000% APY, and stablecoin pools that are giving 20% APY. Is it degen? Is it DeFi? I don't know. I think those lines are still being drawn. But DeFi is kind of where a lot of the bigger gains are being made in the crypto markets right now, and that's where NFT trading and staking is happening. Experimental DeFi projects. I mentioned Olympus DAO. That's kind of like a big Ethereum project going on right now. I think they give a 8,000% APY, but they're also like super risky too, because they're vulnerable to smart contract hacks. You can do things like collateralized loans with Abracadabra, liquidity pools on Sushi Swap, where you're getting 20% APY on stablecoin swapping. And then there's crypto gambling, which I'm way less familiar with. You can participate in DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, and then rebase tokens, reserve currencies. I guess that's a little repetitive, and like Olympus DAO would be one of them. Time Wonderland would be another, and Invictus on Solana would be another. Let's see, when an exchange gets hacked, or if only your account in that exchange experiences that SIM hack, do you get your money back? Is there such a recourse like insurance within the industry? No, there's none. So I just thought I'd answer that because that was a pretty easy one to answer. So self-assessment. I think that question from Bennett goes really well into this slide, because crypto is really about self-sovereignty. It means that no one else is responsible for your cryptocurrency. If you lose your password, if you lose your keys, that's it. It is gone forever. And so there is no insurance on it. There is no government to complain to. You can't go to to DCIL or HTDC and be like, hey, what can you do about my lost crypto funds? I'm sorry, but that is your responsibility. You're completely responsible for everything that happens there. Unless some of the exchange might provide some insurance. But if you're in self-custody, it is all on you. And so that kind of brings us into like a self-assessment of how you're approaching this space. How accessible do I want my coins? If you want them really accessible, then and depending on like what kind of coins that you want to be accessible, then a self-custody wallet might be better for you. Or if you want just like a limited access to the variety of coins, but you want easy access to coins, then a custody wallet might be better for you. Do I live in an area with access or confiscation risk? Hawaii does have this risk, in my opinion, where the DCIL does have an expiration date, and upon that expiration date, we don't know what's going to happen. So if you're holding your cryptocurrency in those exchanges, then yeah, you might not be able to hold on to them. It's probably maybe and I do not speak for the DCIL and on that, or the DFI or any other government organization, but I personally would, upon that expiration date, I would probably keep my cryptocurrency in a self-custody wallet. Conflicts that may risk asset seizure. Those are things like divorce, or if there's some kind of lawsuit on you that may bring about asset seizure. Holding onto your keys or controlling your keys might be preferable to you. Or and do I lose really important things? That's that's probably like a really big self-assessment question that you should consider between custodied and self-custody wallets. If you lose a lot of stuff, then self-custody might not be a good route for you. Am I tech savvy? Like if you're not comfortable with technology, then self-custody might not be a good route for you either. And similarly, am I organized? And this kind of, you know, this probably can lead to a bunch of different ways. But if you're investing into many different cryptocurrencies, then and have trouble tracking them, then self-custody might be very problematic for you, because a lot of people lose track of their cryptocurrencies and keys that way. Am I good at contingency planning and disaster recovery? This applies to both of them, where you have these 12 or 24 word passphrases. And if you are not good at keeping track or storing these things, then you're probably in danger of losing them. And am I good at identifying scams and con artists? This will probably make more sense later in my presentation, as there are many scams in crypto, and being able to identify them if can be difficult. And there are ways to protect yourself or limit how you could get scammed. I've gotten scammed, but luckily I had some limits as to like how much I could get scammed for. But that will probably inform you of like what types of wallets you should have and how you're storing your crypto. First thing I want to cover are hardware wallets. Like Ledger is probably the most popular one, considered the gold standard in the space. Hardware wallets, they're basically USB drives that hold your passphrases on them. And they can hold multiple cryptocurrencies. So I'm not as familiar with the other ones outside of Ledger, because I've really only used Ledger. But the way that they work is that you would actually have to be in the physical space with this drive in order to access any funds from these wallets. So if you want to move cryptocurrency from your Ledger wallet to any other Ledger wallet, you actually have to put in a little code on the wallet itself, and then that would authorize the transaction to happen. So it would be very difficult for a hacker to, authorize the transaction, because you would literally have to be in the physical room to do so. Vulnerabilities. If you buy them on the secondhand market, this has happened with Ledger wallets in the past, where people were selling them on the secondhand market, but they were reprogrammed basically to move funds to like a third-party wallet. The hardware can be stolen, so if you have all of your funds in a Ledger wallet and you lose that wallet, it's probably gone forever. And if you lose the keys for your wallet, you forget the password, you forget the passphrase, and you don't store it properly, then you'll lose that wallet forever. So best practices here: have a secure backup. If you have that passphrase, it's a good idea to keep them in a safe and secure environment. A lot of people will put them into safe deposit boxes, fireproof safes. Yeah, and purchase directly from the manufacturer. Don't buy them on eBay. Don't buy them used. Get it from the manufacturer, and also make sure that it is the actual manufacturer, because I'll get into that. There are create fake websites that look exactly like the Ledger website, and then sell you fake ledgers so that they can get your wallets. Paper wallets. Paper wallets are pretty old school, but they work. This is an example of a paper wallet, what I have on the screen right now. It doesn't show the private key on this one, but it would generally show your public key and your private key. But you don't have to print it out. You can literally write it out if you want to, and then put it in a safe deposit box. Benefits are, this is a wallet that you can never have attached to the internet. So very difficult to hack if it's never been attached to the internet. It's highly secure. But vulnerabilities are physical destruction, physical loss, just like with a hardware wallet. And if you ever lost a piece of paper before, or you know, had a piece of paper destroyed, that is how easy it is to lose a paper wallet. But you can also back up your hardware wallet to a paper wallet. And so best practices are to store this in a secure location, just like you would for your hardware wallet. And then there are browser wallets. MetaMask is probably the most popular, that works on the Ethereum network. Solana, Garda, there are many web wallets right now. Web wallets are probably considered the least secure, but they are the easiest to use. So web wallets are largely used for in the DeFi space, NFT trading, and that probably should have been best practices to use for small amounts of transaction exchanges. But the benefits of web wallets are they're just super easy to use. So almost anyone trading NFTs right now is probably using a web wallet. So best practices for these is you can actually combine your web wallet with hardware wallets and configure your web wallet to require your hardware wallet's authorization in order to use it. And also use a secure and unique password that is really difficult for people to guess. But you can kind of as you can see, between these three different wallets, you can combine the different technologies to secure yourself better. And then there are desktop wallets, which is what a lot of people from Bitcoin have been using for a long time. And they're probably more secure than web wallets, but less accessible. And they're stored on hard drives. So the vulnerabilities are, if your hard drive breaks or becomes inaccessible for whatever reason, your hardware wallet, your desktop wallet is also probably gone. If someone hacks into your hard drive and finds a security phrase in there, then they can access your desktop wallet. And if your computer gets stolen, or your hard drive gets removed for whatever reason, then you can lose your desktop wallet. So similarly, you can back up to a hardware wallet and you can store these in a safe, secure location. Some people will just like store their actual hard drive with the desktop wallet inside of it without an operating system just to store it. But that is kind of an old school technique to protect that. But the thing I think I really want to emphasize here is good security is bad user experience. The more difficult it is for you to access your wallet, the more difficult it is for other people to access your wallet. So if you have really obvious keys, really obvious passwords or ways to access your passwords or passphrases, then it is also easy for a hacker to access those keys and passphrases. So if you're writing down your passphrases in something like Evernote, that is probably a bad idea. Or if you're putting it into like Apple Notes or any kind of note-taking app, that is probably a bad idea, because if someone just gets into your computer or your iCloud account, then all they have to do is search for passphrase or crypto. They'll probably find it, right? So you don't necessarily want to keep your keys and passphrases anywhere that is searchable or accessible to the cloud. And so I wanted to do a quick intro to scams. And there are so many ways to have scams, but I'm just going to go over a few basic ones. But wallet phishing scams are super popular nowadays, where you might get a direct message. This is one that that came in the Radium Discord, where you would get a direct message, and if you can see on that URL, it says radiums.io. The Radium exchange address does not have an S in it, but someone created a fake phishing website with a Radium with an S in it, radiums.io, and then they lure people with airdrops or like free crypto, and say, hey, we're doing a giveaway, just connect your wallet. And then when you do, you're actually authorizing a transaction, and then they will take some of your crypto from your wallet. And this comes in many different ways. Like it can come through Twitter DMs, it can come through fake ads. So right now, KlimaDAO is a super popular, maybe less popular like this week, but a pretty popular rebase token. But someone actually set up a fake KlimaDAO website and then bought ads on Google so that whenever people search for KlimaDAO, the ad will show in the first position above the actual KlimaDAO website. And so if you go to the fake KlimaDAO website or KlimaAOA.finance website, then the UX or the user interface will look exactly like the KlimaDAO website. It'll have a smart contract that you can interact with, but that smart contract goes somewhere else completely and then takes your money. So best practices in participating in this space. Separate your wallets to minimize risk. Like if you're a lot of people will have one wallet just for purchasing NFTs, and they will only keep as much in that wallet to purchase the NFT that they're going to purchase, or as much as they're going to invest in a rebase token or a DeFi network. But basically, you're only keeping as much in that wallet as you need for the transaction that you're about to partake in. So a lot of people will keep most of their funds in a cold offline wallet, like a hardware wallet, and then when they need to make a transaction, they'll transfer that to their web wallet, and then make the transaction that they need to from their web wallet. So you can keep smaller amounts in those high risk wallets. And do not ever provide your secret key or keep it anywhere that it is accessible to others or potentially accessible to others. And use links from trusted websites, Discord channels, or Twitter accounts. So websites like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap provide pretty trusted links. If you're part of the NFT community, being part of the official Discord and speaking with the founders and only following the links that they provide in the links channel or announcement channel is a good practice, or the official Twitter accounts from those NFT or DeFi projects. And rug pulls. I use Theranos as an example because Theranos is a really good example of a rug pull that happened outside of crypto, but it's basically creating artificially inflating the value of an asset. For Elizabeth Holmes, she hyped up a product that didn't exist, and that increased the value of the equity of her business, and she was able to capitalize on that. But crypto is not so different. Because decentralized order books determine the price of crypto, whatever that is, whatever crypto it is. So the price of Bitcoin is at least in relation to US dollars is largely based on how much it's trading for. but there was a really popular scam or rug pull that happened a while ago with the Squid token, where they had a token that people could buy into, but you could not sell it. And so what was happening was that the price for the Game token kept on going up because people literally were not able to sell it. And so from the outside looking in, it looked like holy crap, this is going to be an amazing investment. So this is a chart of what the rise looked like. So people that bought in early at 0.16 cents thought that they were millionaires when it hit $500. And then the creators of the smart contract or the Squid Game token just took all the money out and ran. Similar to Theranos. But yeah, that was about 36 minutes, and I wanted to leave some room for questions. I got through that a lot faster than I thought I would. But yeah, that was the presentation.
Thank you. That was great. And yeah, you packed in a lot of information. I was certainly engaged. Before we get to, oh, actually, no, we have a question. I think it's related to an earlier question. I think this is
I
specific.
answered that one.
Well, specific to an exchange, unless that exchange you had mentioned, some might have an insurance offering, but it's most likely not going to be much help like the FDIC or anything, correct?
No,
Yeah.
it's not at all. You don't have any of that.
So if anybody has any questions, please enter it into the Q&A box. But I think we can continue this conversation. First of all, Spencer, if you don't mind, you mentioned it twice now, and I think I'm certainly curious in terms of at least the category of scam that you found yourself accidentally ensnared in, even though you were able to limit your losses. Like, you're the smartest guy I know, and that's, I think it would be helpful for us to know what still can get you.
A lot of smart people, Ryan. So I doubt I'm the smartest person, But the question was,
well, you said you got scammed. So, we want the dirty
how that
details. We don't want to make you feel bad,
Yeah.
but yeah, what happened?
No problem. Let's see. There was an NFT mint that I was participating in, and I joined the Discord, and then I got a DM saying like the mint is live, so follow this link and you can start minting. And if anyone's been part of an NFT mint before, things like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs are kind of like the most well-known NFTs that came around. But if you get in on the mint, then you can get in at like maybe an ETH equivalent of $100 or so, right? And then if the project takes off, then these things will be worth thousands, or in the case of Bored Ape Yacht Club, millions of dollars. But if you can get in the mint, you're basically getting in at the cheapest price possible. So everyone's kind of frothy when the mint date is approaching, and so you'll get a DM from like there's one I participated in called DJ Ape Academy on the Solana network, and this was not part of this. I don't think this was not part of DJ. It's SoSnakes. But I got a message from like SoSnakes official, and that was the name of their Discord account, and I didn't know any better, but they sent me a link saying mint is live. I see you're part of the Discord and part of the whitelist, so you're cleared to mint, right? And I was like, oh man, I'm special. I'm special. I joined the Discord early, so I'm great. And so I followed the link. It looked exactly like the minting website for SoSnakes. I clicked on I clicked several times, like minting, to like remove funds from my wallet, and then I saw like, oh, I didn't get any NFTs out of this. they just took my money. So I think I lost like. Luckily, I only planned on minting a few of those NFTs. So I basically lost what I was planning to spend, which was just like I think a few $100s. But it still sucked.
Yes.
And basically I just never trust DMs coming from Discord after that.
Very good. I should mention, someone said in regular chat, if you haven't been scammed, you're not in crypto. I think that's probably true. I think you mentioned you use Ledger as
Yeah.
one of your, so I use a Ledger hardware wallet too. And I made the mistake of posting in the Ledger Reddit subreddit, just being helpful, right? I mean, I wasn't doing anything. I was just like, oh, well, you should do this, you should do that. And I got hit with like 14 direct messages from bots, I think, that basically says, we understand you're having trouble with your Ledger wallet. Just click here and we can help you. And it's like Ledger support official and Ledger help and Ledger live and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
super common. So like on message boards, Discords, Twitter, if you say you're having difficulty, you will get DMs saying like, I can help you. I am support.
Right. Got it.
And if they lead you to a site, yeah. And Cindy has a question.
There you go.
Is there a way to confirm legitimate sites that lead you to a site that looks exactly the same? Man, is there a way to confirm? I mean, if you're just following links, there's really no way to just say like this is the legitimate link or not. But generally, you should join the Discords of the specific projects that you're a part of. Like almost every DeFi project has a Discord, an official Discord, and if you join those Discords, they will keep the official links up on those Discords as stickies. But yeah, I know it's a tricky thing because you can't really trust Google at this point. HTTPS might be one way, but a lot of them are buying security certificates to say like it is legit. But I would go mostly by making sure that you're part of the official Discord and not a fake Discord that is set up to look like the official Discord. And that is generally by looking at how many members are part of the Discord and how active the community is.
And as Dagon notes in regular chat, if you get DM'd on those, like if you get a private message on one of those chat groups, that's less likely, less trustworthy than something that's like pinned in public discussion, right? So you still have to be careful. But it is, Cindy, unfortunately, it's difficult to to be sure. Like you mentioned, Google can lead you astray too. So.
And that was like one of those things that I was kind of talking about in self-assessment. Like, are you good at adjudicating these types of things? Because if you're not, then maybe staying on the custodied exchanges might be a better choice for you, because they're kind of doing a lot of that work for you.
Yeah. J MacNut says, if you have coins from several exchanges, I think J MacNut might mean different currencies. Will they add to? Oh wait, I don't know. Will they add together when transferred to cold storage wallet? When we have coins from several exchanges, will they add together when transferred to cold storage wallet?
Let me see if I can illustrate this question.
Okay.
So let's say you're on Gemini and you're holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Like those three cryptocurrencies are supported by Ledger, so you could transfer all of them to the same Ledger hardware wallet, but they will not become like an aggregate of those. They will still be like if you have half a Bitcoin, half an Ethereum, and 20 Solana, it will transfer over as half a Bitcoin, half an Ethereum, and 20 Solana into your Ledger wallet. Does that, I know, JMacNut, let me know if that answers your question or not.
Part of, I guess, another way to ask the question is like if I had 13 Bitcoin from one exchange and 4 Bitcoin from another exchange, but they're Bitcoin, they're official Bitcoin.
Oh,
and
yeah.
On my hardware wallet, because they're both the same protocol, the same currency, they would add together.
Well,
now have 17.
Correct.
Bitcoin. Yeah. 13.
Yeah. So if you're on, let's say, like Gemini and Uphold, and then you transfer Bitcoin from both of those exchanges into your cold wallet, then they will aggregate together.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is staking safe? Perhaps you need to explain what staking is first.
Yes. Staking is what the networks use um, to validate transactions. So while Bitcoin uses proof of work to validate transactions, um, uh, things like Ethereum are moving to proof of stake, and Solana is pure proof of stake. But they reward stakers for basically holding the crypto there and then validating all the transactions on the network. So if you're staking with a staking service, you kind of have to be careful of what service that you're choosing to stake with, if they're trustworthy or not. So again, probably finding their official Discord, making sure that it is the right community, and you're getting the right links to stake whatever you're staking. Ledger has its own staking apps in it, where you can just follow the apps and it'll let you stake pretty easily. But if you're staking outside in the wild DeFi world, you have to make sure that you're just following the right links. But staking is, I mean, I guess as safe as anything else in DeFi.
I think that's where your self-assessment questions definitely should be answered honestly. Joe wants to know, for development, software development, looks like Ethereum and Near have solid communities. Are there other blockchains you might recommend?
Yeah, I think I know Joe. I would say there's a lot happening in AVAX, Phantom, and Solana right now, if you're a developer. Of course, Solana's on Rust, so a little bit of a learning curve there probably for most people. But there was, I would say that's like where a lot of the action is in creating like new types of protocols or DeFi instruments, or I mean, even outside of DeFi, and Polygon too, which is a layer 2 of Ethereum. That is getting a ton of attention right now because transaction fees are so much lower there. And Tezos, the Tezos blockchain. If you're into the art world and NFTs, Tezos is probably where like a lot of the art and art smart contracts are happening.
Right.
But yeah, it's a universe. It's a big universe out there right now.
All I can think is right now it sounds like you're speaking a different language, but developers are a different breed for sure. Bennett asks a question that probably wanders into there be dragons territory. Is there a way where government through regulation can protect the more vulnerable consumer, or is that a Pandora's box that should not be opened?
Is there a way for government to regulate? I don't think so. I mean, the thing about, that phrase, not your keys, not your crypto.
Right.
Like there is no way for government to seize your crypto, like currently. Unless they take your passphrase from you, and then they would actually have to know that you hold crypto. Like, if you're on, if you've never used an exchange before, and you've only, let's say you're someone that has only mined crypto and then put them onto cold wallets and participated in DeFi exchanges, no one knows who you are. No one knows that you're holding those funds. So it's kind of impossible for anyone to take that crypto from you if your keys are never exposed and you've participated completely anonymously. But it is, in my opinion, kind of somewhat, parts of it are unregulatable. I think stablecoins can be regulated, but that probably would not trickle down to the consumer level. It would probably I think governments should probably be stakeholders to an extent in stable coins and tax the stable coins as part of the protocol. But that's a completely different policy discussion.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's sort of like the same debates we had in the 90s about PGP and encryption, right? You're trying to outlaw math. You're trying to outlaw something that cannot by force of will or legislative power be eliminated or removed. It exists as a fact. So there are, of course, attempts to protect consumers. That is the DCIL and DFI's objective. That is why they have the pilot program to see if there's a way to develop a regulatory scheme that is both conducive to these exchanges operating here and protects consumers well. But that's when you're talking about exchanges. That's not when you're talking about, like you said, hardware wallets, paper wallets, taking care of things independent of, I would say, US registered businesses.
Well, there are, I don't know if it's a regulation thing, but in the past, what's happened is when scammers were caught or hackers were caught, their wallet address. The thing about crypto is wallets are transparent too, so you can actually see like who stole the money. And so what happened? I forget which hack it was, but someone stole a bunch of someone. I forget if it was a rug pull or as a hack, but basically stolen funds. And then what the stablecoin networks did was they blocked those wallets from participating. So while they had the crypto, they were unable to cash out. And so that is one way that I guess the protocols have the power to force these hackers. And what happened was the hacker actually returned the crypto because they had no way of using it after that. But that would be one way to, or that has been one way that scammers and hackers have been, I guess, forced into acting. Not really compliance, but it was really the network itself, the crypto network itself actually had the backs of the consumers to say hey, we're not going to let anyone cash out.
Actually, and you know what, now that you mention it, there's been just this rampaging torrent of phishing scams and data hacks and everything, and crypto is one of the ways that the people who do ransomware expect to be paid. And I do know that the federal government recently reported that they've recovered, certainly just a small fraction, but they've recovered a significant amount of funds that were paid out in crypto because, well, black box, but probably through the cooperation of the networks for sure.
Yeah, and that would probably be a way for the government to work with the exchanges or with the protocol developers to identify, malicious wallets, and then say hey, these are all the malicious wallets. If you participate with these malicious wallets, then we will we could crack down on your company,
right?
Because all the stable coins are basically run by companies. They're not, I don't know, there probably are some stable coins that are DAO oriented, but that's also a very different discussion.
I think we might have a session on that in the future. But in terms of being safe and being vigilant out there, Spencer, thank you very much for today's presentation and answering all of those questions.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, yeah, that was that. We've come to the end of the session. I'd like to thank Spencer for his time today, and I certainly learned quite a bit. A quick reminder, this session has been recorded. We'll share it with you so you can keep an eye on your inboxes, and you can share them with a friend of yours who perhaps might be considering entering the crypto space. We have a little time, so I do want to mention that next Wednesday, the DC